I'm Scott Larson. I was athletic director at Apple Valley High School, and I am being inducted into the MnIAAA Hall of Fame.
Scott Larson was born July 22, 1952 in, well, let's hear Scott explain.
I was born in a hospital. I don't remember where because I was young.
Fortunately, Scott's memory became better, so his story can be told.
My parents were Leonard and Phyllis Larson, and we first lived in Minneapolis, moved to St. Paul, and moved to the brand new suburb of White Bear Lake, Minnesota in the mid-50s.
Scott was the firstborn, but the Larson family would grow.
My brothers are Mark and Todd, Mark being the runt of the family, and Todd is that traditional middle child. I attended elementary school in White Bear Lake. Our house never moved, but I went to 4 elementary schools because they kept shifting boundaries. And they were all less than a mile, so never was a yellow bus kid at all. My first introduction to organized sports was baseball. I played community baseball, and then moved on to Babe Ruth baseball, where I was coached by MnIAAA president Tim Herman's dad. I enjoyed baseball. However, when I was introduced to the curveball, my career came to a screeching halt.
Challenging curveballs didn't keep Scott on the bench, though.
I attended White Bear Lake High School, graduated in 1970. I participated in football for 3 years and began my career as a curler as a sophomore. We had a fledgling curling team, and I also competed in track and field for 3 years.
But it was in football where Scott excelled, and where something special happened.
We played at that time, the crossover championship game between the South Suburban and the North Suburban, played at the University of St. Thomas. And 2 things happened out of the blue. Number 1, I intercepted a pass, which was good. And number 2, I was right in front of the camera for the Pioneer Press, so that was recorded for anyone who thinks I can't catch. We do have it on paper.
Scott's football career carried on into college.
I ended up making a decision to go to St. Thomas, and the decision was really pretty easy. My high school football coach, Dwayne Dietz, after my senior year, accepted the position at St. Thomas and really thought I would be a fine addition to the squad. And his persuasion and a decent financial package for us made that a good place for me to go. I played football for 4 years, track and field for 4 years at St. Thomas, and it was a big part of my education and also a good part to make a lot of friends who I still see today. I graduated in 1974 with a degree in Spanish and a minor in coaching and in safety ed. My education career started out with 1 year in Chicago, and then I moved back into the Twin Cities and worked for the Rosemount Apple Valley School District. First as a teacher and coach, and in the mid-'80s I was offered the position of assistant principal and head football coach at Henry Sibley High School, and that was my first foray into administration. And in 1990, Egan High School opened up and they were looking for an athletic director, and I had a chance to go to a brand new school.
After helping to establish the activities department at Egan, it was time to make a career and a family decision.
You know, in 1996, I moved from Egan High School to Apple Valley High School. It was people may look at it as a lateral move. I did it because at that time, both my children were going to be at Apple Valley High School. And as an athletic director, we believed that we could do good things for kids, and I thought, why not do something for the kids I see every day at my home? When I first applied for the job at Apple Valley, we sat down at the kitchen table and I said, how do you guys feel about me coming to the school you're going to be in and being a part of your world? And both of them said it was a good idea.
With his own kids close and the community close behind him, Apple Valley represented well in its activities program during Scott's tenure.
Apple Valley, we had an unbelievable run during the years I was there. 20 state championships during my tenure at Apple Valley. Building projects, finally putting a stadium into a high school that had been there for almost 30 years, and convincing the community that it was a good place to be. I met my wife Sue at a popular hangout for St. Thomas and St. Catherine students. Mitch's Bar down on West 7th was the site of our first meeting. Didn't see her again till the following fall at a party after a football game. I graduated in '74, Sue graduated in '75, and we were married in 1976. So we have 4 grandchildren, Kristen and her husband Seth, have blessed us with 4 grandchildren. I'd like to thank the members of the MnIAAA and the selection committee for bestowing this honor upon me. And to go in with Wayne and Glenn is a real honor. The MnIAAA has always been a part of my life, going back to guys like Kruger, Baker, Motez, Selno. Those were not only my mentors, they were my friends, and they were my role models. Thank you also to the athletic directors of Region 3AA and of the Metro West Conference for their support and for offering me the position as Executive Secretary. Much support, first of all, thanks to Tom Wilson, who was the principal at Egan High School, who saw that I might be able to be a pretty decent AD. At Apple Valley High School, thank you to Gary Embretson for offering me the position, and to Kathy Gustafson, who has been the assistant in that program well before I came and continues after I've left. My dad died when I was 13 years old, but my mom made sure that if I was interested in sports, that I'd have the opportunity. And she would come to my games as well as my 2 brothers. She was always in the stands and never, after the game, told us what we did wrong. Kristen, thank you for your patience and for all the times I probably embarrassed you by coming up to the lunch table and sitting down with your friends and all the goofy things I did at Pep Fests. My son Brian really thought it was cool. In fact, when I first was an athletic director at Egan, he was amazed that they gave me a key that opened every single door in the building. He thought that anyone who had a master key was really cool. Brian passed away, unfortunately, 2 years ago, but he was always proud of the job I had. And finally, and certainly not least at all, my wife Susan. As everyone in this room knows, athletic directors and coaches spend an awful lot of time away from their families. Any success I had, any awards that I've received are due to her.